Our first order of business this afternoon, resolution and more honoring Danae. As I told Danae, we had some nice comments about Tom this morning. Sorry she missed them. So I'm honored to call on Regent Pruitt.
This is twice in one day. I mean, this is like more than Easter. As I was thinking about what to say about Regent Danae Davis, I began to think about how life is about choices. You know, you make good ones and it turns out pretty well. You make not so good ones and things don't turn out quite so well. That caused me to remember that story, the story some of you have probably heard before about a fellow who's having trouble hearing. And he goes to his doctor, and the doctor examines him and says, "Joe, how much are you drinking these days?" Joe says, "Well, about 6 to 8 beers a day." The doctor says, "Joe, you got to quit. It's clearly affecting your hearing." 6 weeks later, Joe returns to the doctor and checks his hearing and hadn't gotten any better. The doctor says, "Joe, just take my advice and stop drinking." And Joe says, "Nope. I tried, but it turns out I liked what I was drinking a whole lot more than I liked what I was hearing." So life is about choices. And Danae Davis, as it turns out, has made some very, very good ones, as we all know, along the way. She chose to go from Milwaukee to UW-Oshkosh, where she excelled, but I understand, caused her share of commotion over there in that campus. But even with all that, and in tribute, perhaps, if nothing else, to short memories, Danae graduated from UW-Oshkosh and took her place among their most distinguished alumni. I know some of you may recall when we were at UW-Oshkosh, we were greeted by this, which was both appropriate and well-earned in terms of her extraordinary service to that campus and her extraordinary role as one of their most distinguished alumni. That is, I think, pretty damn impressive. I don't think I have an index card at my alma mater. They got posters up there hanging on Oshkosh, Danae Davis. Danae then went on, as we probably all know, to attend UW Law School and into a career in public service, first at the state level, and then at the city of Milwaukee level. When I first met her, she became my friend. Now, more than 20 years ago, we're all getting along in years, I think. After that, it was a choice to try the private sector, or as some of us call it, the dark side, when she went to head diversity affairs at Miller Brewing Company. One of my mentors in academia, when I decided to leave academia to go to the private sector, told me that he was disappointed I had chosen to sell myself by the job. Which in your case was far from that. And indeed, when time and opportunity came again, Danae could not resist making a different choice when she joined this board 8 years ago, and then ultimately as the executive director of an organization that I know she cares so deeply about, Pearls for Teen Girls. All the while, she and Fred have raised a son, Kwesi, who by all accounts is just like her, with a deep and abiding passion for people, policy, and politics. Ernest Hemingway once wrote that as you get older, it is harder to have heroes, but it is more necessary. Danae Davis is one of my heroes. In these years we have served together on this board, I have watched and learned so much from her that as I was trying to sort of encapsulate it in a few words or in a few terms, I was hard pressed. But I came up with 3: committed leader, passionate mentor, and fearless advocate. Committed leader. Dr. King once said, one of my favorite quotes from Dr. King was, he said, "If you are a street sweeper, sweep the streets like Shakespeare wrote poetry, like Rembrandt painted pictures, like Beethoven wrote music. Sweep the streets so well that when you're gone, all the hosts of heaven and earth will say, here was a street sweeper who did her job well." As a student, a public servant, a corporate and nonprofit leader, and a citizen board member, Danae has done all her jobs with the same skill and talent that Beethoven brought to his music and Shakespeare to his poetry. In her time here, Danae has made us all focus on things that really matter, but without her, we might have fallen by the wayside. Things like how we can make our K through 12 education system work better to better prepare students for college. Things like the importance of supporting strong charter schools that are doing remarkable things in the city of Milwaukee. Things like the vital role our schools of education play in training and educating our leaders. We all remember, and I know UW-Milwaukee remembers because I saw it in person, and Regent President Spector and I saw it in person just a month ago. UW-Milwaukee remembers Danae's commitment and leadership and her persistent and eloquent voice that helped make the UWM School of Public Health a reality. Passionate mentor. George Eliot once wrote, "It is never too late to be what you might have been." With Pearls for Teen Girls, Danae is every day showing the young girls who have become her life how they can be what you might have been. It all comes around, I was thinking, in my own humble opinion, to Danae's sort of remarkable ability to what I call focus on one. It's why she was so damn good at picking chancellors in university leadership for this system. She has a remarkable ability to look in the eye and size you up. And that can go either way. But in the process of selecting university leaders, I think it has gone a very, very long and good way in terms of helping this university system have some of the finest university leaders in the country. It is no accident that she chaired the selection committee that chose David Wilson to head the UW Colleges of Extension. It is no accident that she chaired the committee that selected Mike Lovell to lead UWM. It is no accident. She has and brought to all that sort of highly personalized, look in the eye like a laser into your soul kind of conversation that she brings to so many of not just discussions of policy and policy issues, but in the everyday interactions with the individual members, the students, the faculty, the staff, the leadership of the University of Wisconsin. And that focus on one, that willingness to help and mentor one person at a time, I think has applied to all of us and all of her colleagues who've served with her on this board. I always remember in May of 2003, when I was appointed to this board, I had absolutely no clue what I was supposed to do or what was expected of me. I have watched with great admiration Troy and Kathy and Mark, and much to my distress, I see none of the fear and intimidation that I felt. But one of the things that helped get me through that door and helped me was knowing that Danae was here and knowing that she would mentor me, that she would help me, that she would pick me up if I fell or made a fool of myself, both of which seemed like highly likely eventualities soon after my arrival. And I know it is something she has done for so many others on this board, but also in this UW community over the years. And it is something we will miss, but something we will all be enriched by in terms of having her done it. Fearless advocate. We have all seen countless times and in countless places Danae's fearless advocacy for a simple but powerful idea. That ultimately we will never achieve true institutional excellence without diversity, equity, and inclusion. The strength of her leadership on this simple but powerful idea, from those days at UW-Oshkosh, through the corporate world, and during the last 8+ years at the university world, has made us all better. Her fearless advocacy for keeping this university system together, and her insistence early on that we be for something, as she said, was both inspiring and incredibly important. And it is one of the reasons we're still meeting in September in 1820 Van Nuys Hall. Eleanor Roosevelt advised us to do something every day that scares you. Danae, you must be scared a lot. But we are all in awe of the fact that you every day are willing to do that. And so, my friend, we say goodbye for now, but know with absolute assurance that your legacy remains here in this room with all the people you've mentored, helped, and inspired on campuses from one end of Wisconsin to another. And we know with equal certainty that we will continue to look to you for inspiration, courage, and a healthy dose of passion as you pursue all those new avenues to continue to make a difference and be the change you want to see. Danae? This isn't like me forgetting to call the roll. I know I have to read the resolution. Appreciate it. Because this resolution is really well done. And I want you to know, since Michael Spector has been signing this, the upgrade on the quality of the resolutions has gone way up. Whereas Danae Davis has dedicated more than 8 years of exemplary service as a regent of the University of Wisconsin system from 2003 to 2011. And whereas, drawing upon her 30 years of leadership experience in the public and corporate sector, Danae has been tremendously active, engaged member during her tenure in this board, serving on what may be a record-setting 14 committees, and serving as chair for 7 of them. And whereas Danae is a proud alumna of 2 UW schools, having earned her law degree at the UW Law School and her bachelor's degree from UW Oshkosh, where in 2002 she was honored as one of 4 distinguished alumni, an indication that her alma mater takes great pride in her contributions to society and lifelong civic engagement. And whereas she has played a significant role in guiding the selection of university leadership, serving as a member of the Chancellor Search Committees for UW Parkside and UW River Falls, chairing 3 Chancellor Search Committees for UW Milwaukee, UW Whitewater, and the joint position for UW Colleges and UW Extension, as well as serving on the Search Committee for UW System President. And whereas Danae has been a strong leader in strengthening UW system accountability measures, seeking to use the data to, quote, more nimbly duplicate that which works at individual institutions, and citing the Equity Scorecard as an exemplary program that creates an effective framework for diversity and its promotion of equitable opportunities for all students. And whereas she has worked to publicly honor and reward the commitment of extraordinary UW educators, serving on all 3 of the Regents award committees: teaching excellence, academic staff excellence, and most recently diversity, and in all areas has been a staunch and articulate advocate for advancing excellence, affordability, and accessibility within the UW system. And whereas few voices in public higher education have sounded the call more fervently that there can be no institutional excellence without diversity, equity, and inclusion, and her compelling advocacy to expand educational and leadership opportunities for youth has been a source of energy and inspiration for fellow board members. And whereas such is her passion for social justice, that Danae lives the dictum in her professional and personal life that one must be the change you want to see in the world. Be it therefore resolved that the Board of Regents of the University of Wisconsin system commends Danae Davis for her distinguished service on behalf of higher education in Wisconsin and wishes her continued success empowering Milwaukee's leaders of tomorrow, helping them to fulfill their lifelong dreams. Michael J. Spector, President, UW Board of Regents.
I've never seen this many photographers today.
So, Chuck, awesome. I don't even know, I have no words, but thank you. For those and folks, I may just look at the paper, because those of you who know me know that that may work best for me in terms of getting through this. So, for those who have known and interacted with me over these last 8+ years, you know me to be passionate, emotional, and hopefully inspiring. So why break the mold now? Right? So my fellow Regent colleagues, President Kevin Riley, our fantastic UW Systems staff, the best team of chancellors in public higher ed, our awesome provosts, faculty, students, administrators, and friends. This day has mixed meaning for me. Thank you all for contributing to the most impactful, bar none, experience of my entire life. Everyone who cares and appreciates the gift of a good public higher education ought to have the honor of being on this August board, the UW Systems Board of Regents. I sincerely thank Governor Jim Doyle for the honor and the privilege of serving for these 8+ years. As I contemplated all that we together have accomplished, I thought of three things. Courage, leadership, and honor. Courage. I am extremely proud of the fact that this board and the leaders throughout our system and across our, last time I'll say it, campuses, have had the courage to do the right thing. Examples that come to mind include our system-wide holistic admissions policy, the fact that we were steadfast in our support of domestic partner benefits, and our unabashed commitment to finding ways to exemplify our commitment to diversity and inclusion throughout our educational ecosystem. It is my fervent hope that as you go forward, you will continue to make inclusive excellence, and I'm very glad to hear in the report, among your key priorities, and that as I keep up with the goings-on of this wonderful system, I will continue to hear about examples of progress continuing to be made to close the achievement, retention, and graduation gaps between our diverse students, and that at the campus level, our faculty reflects the diversity of our students and world. Leadership. Serving as the chair of education, of the Education Committee, was a very special experience in leadership in a number of ways. It was an excellent way to learn, understand, and yes, influence educational policy at a macro level. Whether the topic was charter schools, our new master's, doctoral, and undergraduate programs, or cross-campus collaborative programs such as nursing, we were able to respectfully, robustly, and completely discuss, recommend, and set policies that enable us to provide educational opportunities for today's and tomorrow's students. Some of our discussions weren't without controversy and discourse, but I am proud to say, by keeping our eyes on the ultimate student prize, we were able to resolve our differences, grow in our experiences, and learn from each other. This, my friends, is true leadership. Getting out of our personal way to do the greater good for our students and their families. I have been able to take what I've learned about higher education policy and translate opportunities to a vast array of teens, adults, and families, as well as to other leaders in my community, and I am grateful for the opportunity to do so. Honor. You've heard me say many times, it has been an honor to serve as a member of our UW Systems Board of Regents. Why honor? Because to be nominated and confirmed from among lots of talented, committed, and likely alumni of our institutions is an honor in and of itself. It is also an honor to have been with all of you. I started counting and I lost, so bear with me on this. I have served with 6 region presidents, 2 systems presidents, lots of chancellors, and probably at least 24 or more provosts, and interacted with many, many student leaders from across our many institutions, and that is an honor. When I look at what we have accomplished for the good of all of our constituents, I can honestly say I have no regrets and loads of proud moments I will never forget, thanks to all of you. Now, I know it is risky to call out individuals, and please know that all of you will and do occupy a special place in my heart. I must mention a few special people. Ann Milstead, No one takes better care of me than you. From my gluten-free meals, Chuck, I told you the secret to getting those wonderful, delicious Cobb salads, to my forgetfulness in making hotel reservations for our meetings around the state, or the warm smiles and hugs at every meeting, and most of all, I love that you never said no to me, even though you probably did and I didn't notice. Rebecca Carroll, you are so very exceptionally bright, competent, and committed to the greater good. Thank you. I've learned a lot from you in a very gentle way. I've been wearing your art, for all of you that would be these awesome earrings, and I'm particularly thankful for your guidance and support when I was chair of the board's education committee. Though she is not here, I really want to again publicly and passionately thank Rebecca Martin for being the awesome, thoughtful, courageous leader as our Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. Rebecca and I were so very aligned philosophically and around similar passions and expectations in the world of higher education. Our belief that we must stand for what is right is also the glue that kept us together. We accomplished great things together, and I will be forever grateful for her stewardship. Vicki Washington. There is no one more knowledgeable nor passionate about diversity and inclusion. Your work harder than most to be persistent and to keep all aspects of our system informed about how and why to be accountable for diversity in mind and spirit. You work harder than most in that regard. Your journey ahead will not be easy, and I thank you so very much for your friendship. Chancellor Wells, Rick Wells. There is no finer leader I can think of that I would rather have to lead my alma mater, UW-Oshkosh, than you, Rick. You have been consistent, a real trooper, persistent around diversity even when your numbers would dissuade you from continuing the fight. And today, your numbers say your leadership and campus team efforts are paying off. Thank you for making me proud to say UWO is my alma mater. And I particularly liked your comment today about the revolutionary idea. I wrote that down. Judy Crane. I learned humility, true respect for governance, and inclusion of those with opinions different from my own from your leadership as chair of the Education Committee. You have truly been remarkable and so very forthright. You have always endeavored to put all of your cards on the table, and though we probably will never be exactly in agreement regarding charter schools, I so respect you and know that you respect me. That means the world, and I thank you for it. I have truly enjoyed, to varying degrees, the leadership of all 6 Regent Board presidents. Chuck Pruitt has been the epitome of unassuming yet powerfully effective leadership. His stewardship during the turbulence and transition was masterful, and I marvel at his ability to run a business and be all over the state at the same time. And no one has the command of words with such passion and effectiveness as he does. I want to especially thank you, Chuck, for your leadership and your friendship. And I want to thank all of the presidents throughout the years. He will not want me to do this, but I will anyway. Michael Morgan is my very dear friend. I was so very excited and proud when Kevin made the courageous and right decision to hire Michael, first as interim and later as a permanent senior vice president. Michael's exceptional acumen, quick study of processes, terrific attention to detail, and strategic mind are awesome. But I think the thing that means the most to me in this context is that he also understands intrinsically what the student experience needs to be like for not just the students, but also for their families, as he influences higher education policy. We are blessed to have him on the team. Michael, thank you for saying yes to Kevin. All good things do indeed come to an end. The new path will always include my devotion to increasing access to public higher education, and I will always be passionate in supporting our assets represented in the best public higher education system in the nation. Kevin, while the road ahead will not be easy, You are clearly the very best person to lead us going forward. Your commitment and tenacity is so very appreciated, and for all of you, I wish only the best. At the end of the day, if you keep your eyes on the students as our prizes, you will all do the right thing in these changing times that we are in. It's been such a wonderful ride. Thank you all for all you've contributed to this memorable experience.
It's a tough day. It's a tough day.
That's right.
It may not always be as much as you have.
Jeff, you ready? All right, while Danae is finishing up, we will call on Regent Bartel to give the report of the Capital Planning and Budget Committee.
Michael Morgan went to the end of the line again, I Thank you, President Specker. The Capital Planning and Budget Committee met this morning, and we approved the minutes of our July meeting, and we adopted the following 7 resolutions unanimously, and I would now present these as consent agenda items. Resolution 1.3.B, which was brought to us by UW-Madison, requests authority to seek a waiver from the State Building Commission to allow a design-build entity to design and construct the $1.5 million gift-funded General Library System Storage Facility project, which will provide storage space for campus libraries. This project was previously enumerated. It will construct a pre-engineered addition to the existing warehouse, which I think is in Verona, which does not require the level of programming or design of our typical building projects, hence the request for a waiver to allow design build. Resolution 1.3.c requests authority to construct a UW-Madison multi-building energy conservation project, Phase 3, which will implement a wide range of energy conservation measures in 3 separate academic buildings. It's Biotron, Mechanical Engineering, and Microbial Sciences, and lighting retrofits in 24 buildings across campus, as recommended by a comprehensive energy study. These energy conservation measures are expected to result in annual energy cost savings of approximately $1.6 million, with a simple payback of the total $16.6 million cost in less than 10 years. It's really quite remarkable. Resolution 1.3.d, which is brought by UW-Stevens Point, requests authority to renovate Burroughs Residence Hall during the summer of 2012 and Knutson Residence Hall during the summer of 2013 in the North Debat Residence Hall quadrant of the campus. These are the 5th and 6th halls on campus to be renovated. I think both of these were built in the 60s and are in substantial need of renovation. The renovations in both buildings, which house a total of about 540 beds, at a cost of $11.7 million of program revenue support borrowing, are expected to achieve the sustainable design and operation level for a certification as a LEED existing building, as outlined in the U.S. Green Building Council. Resolution 1.3.e requests authority to construct UW Stout Fleming Hall renovations project. The existing building will be completely renovated to provide 198 beds in a traditional dorm style of double occupancy rooms and 4 triple occupancy rooms. The renovation work will be completed, will completely replace all plumbing, mechanical, electrical, and telecommunication systems and add an automatic sprinkler. Fleming Hall is the second project in a multi-year plan to upgrade and renovate the entire housing stock at UW Stout. This is a $6.6 million project to be funded by a room rate increase of $150. Resolution 1.3.f requests authority to adjust the budget and construct the UW Whitewater Young Auditorium Dance Studio Addition project. This is a $1.1 million entirely gift-funded project, and it will create an addition to the Young Auditorium that will house a dance studio and provide adequate classroom and rehearsal space to meet the national standards. The budget adjustment will furnish the funds required to provide an additional air handling unit and the mezzanine space to house that unit. Resolution 1.3.g requests authority to construct 4 all-agency maintenance and repair projects at 4 of our campuses, totaling about $12 million. And these include utility improvements, restroom renovations, and reconstruction of parking lots. And finally, Resolution 1.3.h requests approval of the procedures for implementing capital projects. This is an item that was prompted by the Wisconsin 2011 Act 32, which you'll recall exempts certain capital projects of the University of Wisconsin system from building commission approval and Division of State Facilities Management. These are typically very small projects, under $500,000. The Act requires that procedures for bidding projects be developed by the Board of Regents, which is what we're doing with these procedures that I'm presenting, and approved by the State Building Commission and the Joint Committee on Finance. So these and those procedures are in your materials. If you have any questions about them, I'd be happy to address them. These 7 resolutions were passed unanimously by the committee this morning, and I now move adoption of resolutions 1.3b, c, d, e, f, g, and h.
Is there a second to Jeff's motion?
Second.
Is there anyone who wants to remove any item from the consent agenda as Jeff proposed it? All right, we will then proceed. Is there any discussion on anything? All right, all those in favor of Jeff's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Great. Thank you very much.
I have one final paragraph. Associate Vice President David Miller then reported to us that the Building Commission approved over $80 million, $82.5 million for projects at its July meeting. Those projects consist of approximately $46 million general fund supported borrowing and $36 million program revenue. Mr. President, that concludes the report of the Capital Planning and Budget Committee.
Great. Thank you. I know the other committees did not meet, so we do not have any reports from them, so we will proceed on to the question of whether there are any communications, petitions, or memorials that anybody wishes to bring up. All right. If not, I guess I'd like Brent to make the motion to move to closed session now, and then we'll recess for 5 minutes to try to keep us moving so we get as many people as possible home to hear the President and watch the Packers. But I can't say that Superior will, you can make that. I don't know if that's it. So, Brent.
All right, we'll move to go to closed session to confirm a legal counsel regarding pending or potential litigation committed by 1985.
This is 1987, but I think it should be 1985. Okay, good. You got it right. Is there a second? Let's have a roll call. Let's have a roll call, Jane. Hello.
Regent Bartel,
Yes.
Regent Bradley,
Yes.
Regent Crane,
Yes.
Regent Davis,
Oh, there's only one now, okay.
Regent Drew, Regent Evers, Regent Falbo,
Yes.
Regent Manydeeds,
Yes.
Regent Pointer,
Yes.
Regent Pruitt,
Yes.
Regent Shervin,
Yes.
Regent Smith,
Yes.
Regent Spector,
Yes.
Regent Tyler,
Yes.
Regent Tyler, just making up for the last
Yes, again.
Regent Vasquez, Regent Walsh. The ayes have it.
Thank you very much. Before we go, I want to thank everybody for their participation in what I thought was a very good and helpful discussion today, especially thank Kevin and Chuck for their presentations. I think we made some good decisions. So let's take a 5-minute break. I ask that those leave who are not to be here in the closed session. Thank you very much. And then we'll start again.